The United States has been always in the forefront of military aviation, introducing technologies that other countries simply did not have enough resources to develop and implement. At one moment, a unique new generation bomber, the B-2 by Northrop Grumman, appeared. Today, the Air Force seeks to expand its superiority even further, developing the ultimate stealth bomber, the B-21 Raider, which is the subject of this video. The B-21 Raider is the successor to the legendary B-2 Spirit, a new strategic heavy bomber being developed by Northrop Grumman for the US Air Force. The engineer's main goal is to make a stealthy aircraft with the longest possible range using cutting-edge technology. The bomber will be able to carry both conventional projectiles and thermonuclear weapons, Joint Direct Attack Munition (JDAM), AGM-158 Joint Strike Air-to-Force Standoff Missile (JASSM), as well as B-83 and B-6112 thermonuclear bombs were mentioned among the munitions. In 2000, the Pentagon announced the launch of the Next Generation Bomber (NGB) military program. However, sometime later, it changed the requirements for Next Generation bombers, while changing the program itself from the NGB Next Generation Bomber to the LRSB Long Range Strike Bomber. The plan was to develop an aircraft, much like the B-2, based on the same technology but without the tremendous cost of $2 billion per unit, including equipment. The budget for the LRSB program, according to preliminary estimates, would be as much as $55 billion. One Raider will receive from $500 million to $550 million. The military expects the newest aircraft to make its first flight as early as 2022, and it will be put into service in 2026 or 2027. The US Air Force intends to acquire 100 B-21s and later increase this number to 200 to replace the current fleet of strategic bombers, which consists of the B-52, B-1 Lancer, and finally the Raider's predecessor, the B-2 Spirit. To understand if the Raider merits replacing the Spirit, let's compare these two stealth giants. One of the first things that strike the eye is the shape of the airplane. It is nearly identical to its prototype. Taking into account the emphasis on low visibility, this isn't surprising, as the flying wing principle still guarantees the plane maximum invisibility from enemy radars, as well as several times more payload mass. But the proof is in the pudding. The new aircraft intends to take all aspects of the B-2's low visibility design to a whole new level, becoming the hardest to detect bomber in aviation history. In particular, its hull will become even less detectable to the low-frequency UHF and VHF radars that have become so popular in the fight against stealth aircraft. In contested airspace, this will significantly affect the survivability of the aircraft. After all, unlike the F-22 or F-35 fighters designed to operate in an environment where the enemy may already be aware of their presence, the B-2 and B-21 are designed to avoid being detected and making contact with enemy equipment, other than by bombing, of course. The engines will be placed inside the airframe and the exhaust tubes in its upper part, thereby reducing thermal radiation and reducing the vehicle's visibility within the infrared range. As for the actual dimensions of the Raider, those still remain classified. According to preliminary data, though, the size of the B-21 is 2/3 the size of the B-2. However, both the size and payload of the aircraft will ultimately be determined by the propulsion system that will provide its stable boost. The most likely choice of military engines for the B-21, among those that are already in production, are the improved versions of the engines used in the F-15 and F-16, Pratt & Whitney F-100, or General Electric F-110. Many experts also mention the Pratt & Whitney F-135, which offers a dry thrust of 28,000 pounds with a potential upgrade to 30,000 pounds. This improved the aircraft's fuel economy. With these engines, the B-21 Raider will have less thrust than with the 76,000 pounds available in the B-2 bomber. but given its reduced size, the potential performance is still impressive. Among other engine-related features of the aircraft's design, it is worth noting that the hot gases from the engine could be further cooled by a mixing method in the exhaust system. A similar arrangement was successfully used before in the B-2 Spirit. To serve as a viable replacement for both the fast B-1B and the powerful B-2, it is expected to be a subsonic aircraft, and its large fuel supply and in-flight refueling capability will give it the target-hitting versatility that the Air Force expects of it. In addition, the clever deployment of lighter future bombers, compared to the massive B-2, gives the United States the ability to hit even the most defended targets anywhere on the planet in only a few hours. Like its predecessor, the B-21 is capable of carrying a variety of nuclear weapons. For example, the B-61 Variable Yield Gravity Bomb and the Long Range Standoff LRSO Nuclear Cruise Missile. The arsenal doesn't end here though. Among the munitions, we're sure to see long-range anti-ship missiles like the B-1B Lancer. This means that the stealth aircraft will be able to easily hit surface warships. Let's not forget the Boeing Joint Direct Attack Munition either, with its GPS-guided ammunition designed to hit targets from a great distance. It will allow the B-21 to hit enemy targets without revealing its position. The Air Force invested a lot of effort in avionics too. The aircraft will use an open architecture computer system. This will be able to save it from the complicated process that usually comes with introducing new weapons and equipment, based on the unfortunate experience with the Lockheed Martin F-22. Given the current trend of using artificial intelligence in many military drones and fighter jets as a co-pilot, it can be assumed that the Air Force will want to test remote control capability for the Raider as well. Many still believe, however, that trusting artificial intelligence and sensors rather than a pilot with a flying $50 million machine is unwise, no matter how advanced they may be. The main competitor to the B-21 could be the Chinese bomber Xi'an H-20, of which, unfortunately, there isn't much information available. After the PLAAF shared a video showing the possible appearance of the Xi'an H-20, people on the net immediately started comparing it with the B-2 and B-21. These accusations were not unfounded because what China presented was a visual copy of the Spirit. Based on the information available on the H-20's weaponry, it can be concluded that, like the B-21, it will be equipped with conventional and nuclear warheads. The payload of the H-20 will be more than 45 tons, and its takeoff weight won't be less than 200 tons, which is slightly superior to the performance of the previous generations of US bombers in the face of B-2 Spirit with 27 tons of payload in the upgraded version and 171 tons of takeoff weight. Given that the size of the B-21 will be smaller than its ancestor, the takeoff weight and payload are unlikely to surpass that of the Xi'an H-20. The range of the Chinese bomber threatens US interests in the Asia-Pacific region, and according to defense analyst John Grevitt, if the Chinese aircraft starts working, it will be a game changer. The Xi'an H-20 is capable of reaching US and Japanese military bases in Guam and the Philippines. In addition, Andersen Air Force Base in Guam is not only the most important air base west of Hawaii, but it also regularly services heavy US strategic bombers like the B-1B Lancer, B-2 Spirit, and B-52 Stratofortress, which makes it an appealing target in the event of hostiles in Asia. According to the Air Force, the first two B-21 bombers are nearly ready today, with one of them set to make its first flight as early as mid-2022. Popular Mechanics believes that the B-21 Raider will not just be the killer of Russian S-400 Triumph anti-aircraft missile systems, it will provide peaceful skies over the heads of many allied nations, which is especially important against the backdrop of the tense relationship between the nuclear powers. Russia, the US, and China. What did you think of the new US Air Force bomber? What impressed you the most? Be sure to let us know in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like below, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay in touch. See you soon.